Alright, what's up, yins, guys? Time for another video. I'm gonna talk about another one of these weird news things that I see on TV news. It's like some of them are getting like a little weirder. You want to say? But anyway, yeah, another video about bizarre, weird news, and I like to say it's getting weirder and more bizarre. Or can it get more bizarre? It's not getting any less bizarre, but new bizarre, definitely. Okay, this one, not to beat around the bush. And you guys tell me, you seen anything any stranger in your area, in your TV news? But I mean, we hear every other day on this TV news about people doing all these illegal drugs, meth and crack and everything else, and the kids getting a hold of it and dying. I hear about that every other day, but this is a weird one, a very disgusting and bizarre one that I never heard in a long time. Or anyway, this couple, the coroner is still investigating exactly the method of death or how they died. But what these parents did almost indicates and points to something that they're ashamed of or afraid of, whether they did it accidentally or they accidentally killed the baby or on purpose or did something they didn't know what they were doing, or however the hell they did it. They knew what they did and they were afraid, ashamed of, and they were scared that they knew damn well that they were guilty and were going to go to jail. So they didn't call 911. The woman's excuse for not calling 911, by the way, was oh, they knew they couldn't afford a funeral and the burial costs. It's like, what the fuck? I don't care if somebody's old grandfather dies, old person dies of heart failure, right? Or some baby. People usually call 911, and you got to notify the proper authorities. Call 911 or whatever. And of course, you're going to have the coroner do the investigation, and they do a death certificate. But if there's something that somebody is guilty of, that they're afraid that's going to get found out, they're going to go to jail, they're going to do the opposite. Well, to not jump subjects, you heard the stories about people's old parents dying, and they hide in the body so nobody knows they're dead, so that the family members can still collect the Social Security and shit. I heard that on news. But that's jumping subject. These ones, okay, the baby dies, all right, and instead of calling 911, they either get evicted from their house or move from the house for whatever reasons, like whether they move willingly or get evicted, I forget what it was. Leave the house. Maybe they'll willingly leave in the house because of their dead baby. But you know what they did with the dead baby instead of calling 911? They wrap it in a blanket and put it in a crate, wooden box, right? Cut a hole in the wall, put the baby in the crate inside the wall, and put the drywall back up and drywalled over top of the wall and painted it to look like the rest of the house, painted it white, which you're going to have a wall with a newer paint job. Neighbors called CYS because, I don't know, they suspected a baby was always crying and all of a sudden stops crying. They come and check in a house and they get it out of them somehow. I guess the woman admits to it or something. Her excuse was, oh, we didn't have enough money for a funeral for this. Oh, so you go and take the baby and put it inside a crate and put it inside the wall and cover up and then move and leave the house. Come on now. No, you don't do that. And then, that's really despicable. These people deserve to go to jail. But in parentheses, I want to say, and this relates in a way, society has not collapsed yet where, there's no 911. What I'm saying this because usually when you were to bury, whether a baby or old people, somebody that dies of heart failure or whatever reason, it's one of two things. Before we had civilization, as we know it, colonial days, people had farm properties, still in the old West days, people, buried people differently. You're going from medieval days to now. I mean, shit. Even in you can people were able easier. It was easier to lie and say somebody died of this and that, and whether somebody killed them or whatever they were, or if they died of natural causes. But in this day and age, if it isn't back in the day, well, you know what I'm saying? Say the world as we know it collapsed and there's no 911, people died of disease or whatever, no more civilization. Like some of them movies, then maybe people would be just burying people wherever the hell, you know what I mean? But until then, we live in a civilized world. You don't just do shit like that. Uh, so you get the basic gist of what I'm saying. But okay, now what they should do to people like this? I mean, there's other people. I mean, too, the same category. They're doing drugs. They have a baby and they're doing these drugs, and the baby gets hold of the drugs. They shouldn't be. You shouldn't have kids if you're doing illegal drugs. Period. They die of consumption of the drugs. They get a hold of them, or any other kind of uh, thing going on. But what should happen to parents like this? I know the justice system. I think as far as people like this is concerned, the justice system maybe is devoid of creativity. I mean, spank their butts until they cry over live television, maybe at least a good solid hour or two with a belt. And then don't stop there. Put them in prison, right? Each of them in prison, but make them wear a diaper in prison and give them a baby bottle as their prison chow. Okay, and maybe put a crib there instead of a prison cot that looks like a crib. And maybe every night while they're sleeping, broadcast in a speaker the sound of a baby crying 24/7. Or, like, if it isn't the sound of a baby crying, maybe the ding 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 sounds of, the wind up music box little things above the crib, the music box things. But have that sound through a loudspeaker, the rockabye baby music. 24/7, and maybe give a break from that and make the sound of a baby cry and make them wear a diaper and then walk through the prison aisles that way. I mean, and then maybe have the prison guards talk to them baby talk, you know what I mean, and all kind of shit like that. And you guys decide in parentheses. But yeah, they ought to get it. You know, and they ought to be pretty much humiliated. But yeah, no, our laws the way it is now, that's what called cruel and unusual punishment. Even if you're not really doing any kind of like which you don't want to say that the guard should be doing, in like beatings or anything like that. But I was getting at more like other kinds of humiliation. A baby crying in the cell, the sound effects like that. You know what I mean? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I mean, would you want to give these people a cushy stay in prison for that? I mean, totally carelessness and negligence, and then they want to cover it up by putting a baby in a fucking wall and covering it with drywall, thinking nobody's ever gonna find out. You know what I mean? That is like fucked up. Them people deserve to be in jail forever.